You ever watch a horror movie and just feel frustrated by how much potential is left on the table? That's exactly how I felt watching Control Freak. It has an interesting concept, some unsettling sound design, and a strong lead performance, but it just never goes far enough with what it sets up. Let's talk about it.
What is it?
There's something wrong with her.
I can't stop.
What is it? What is that?
Who is feeling brave tonight?
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into Control Freak, the new psychological horror film streaming on Hulu. This one stars Kelly Marie Tran, best known for Star Wars The Last Jedi, and it mixes body horror with psychological thrills. On paper, that sounds like something I'd love, but unfortunately, the execution left a lot to be desired. Before we get into my thoughts, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoy these reviews. Now, let's break this one down. Control Freak follows Val, a successful motivational speaker who seems to have her life together. But one day she starts experiencing a bizarre itch on the back of her head that won't go away. As she obsessively scratches, she begins seeing disturbing visions and losing control over her own body. Soon she realizes she's being haunted by a supernatural force linked to her past, forcing her to confront the secrets she's tried to bury. Starting with the positives, the absolute standout of this movie is the sound design. That constant grating scratching sound is genuinely uncomfortable, and it makes your skin crawl every time Val digs her nails into her scalp. It's the kind of thing that burrows into your brain and makes you squirm, something that horror movies rarely take full advantage of. I kept finding myself thinking, please stop doing that, which is exactly the kind of reaction a movie like this should be aiming for. I also really like the concept here. The idea of someone losing control over their own body mixed with themes of generational trauma and cultural folklore had a lot of potential. There's some really cool body horror moments, though I wish there were more of them, and the design of the creature/demon that haunts Val is actually pretty great. When it finally shows up, it has this eerie, grotesque look that sticks with you. Kelly Marie Tran does fine with what she's given. She's believable in the role, and you can tell she's fully committed to the performance. But this brings me to my biggest issue with the movie. Val just isn't a likable or compelling protagonist. I never found myself emotionally invested in her struggle. She's written in a way that makes her feel distant. And while I get that the movie is trying to portray her as someone putting on a fake put-together persona, it doesn't do enough to make us care about what's going on with her underneath. Horror works best when you're fully in the protagonist's shoes, and that never really happened for me here. Another major problem is the overuse of dream sequences. This movie constantly relies on fake-out scares to the point where it gets really frustrating. You'll get an intense moment only for it to end with Val waking up in a panic. That trick works once or twice, but when it happens over and over, it just makes the horror feel cheap. And speaking of things that don't go far enough, let's talk about the body horror. There are definitely some disturbing visuals, but the movie never fully commits to them. The best body horror movies make you feel genuinely uncomfortable. And while Control Freak flirts with that idea, it never dives in the way I wanted it to. It keeps pulling back just when things are getting interesting, and that's a huge missed opportunity. The pacing is another issue. The movie takes a long time to get going, and while the third act does pick up, it feels like a case of too little too late. For most of the runtime, I was just kind of bored. And that's not something you want from a horror film with such a unique premise. Control Freak is a frustrating movie because it had all the ingredients to be something great. The sound design is fantastic, the concept is solid, and the creature design is cool, but it just doesn't go far enough with its horror elements, the pacing is too slow, and the protagonist isn't engaging enough to carry the film. It's not terrible, but it's not particularly memorable either. I'm giving Control Freak a 2 out of 5. Have you seen Control Freak yet? Let me know in the comments. Did the sound design get under your skin like it did for me, or did you enjoy it more than I did? And as always, if you liked this review, be sure to like the video and subscribe for more movie discussions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.